Hi everyone, I'm Lori Michaels, specializing in fitness for active adults and seniors. This is part 2 of our exercise snap video in regards to what pain you might have that's holding you back from fitness. Last month I showed you some exercises that would help improve your wrists and also your shoulders. So this month we're going to be going over some exercises that will help improve your knees, because sometimes we have a lot of problems with our knees when we sit down and stand up. And also the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, how that's tight, and that could give you some other problems like back issues and so forth. Anyway, so take it away, Kim.
Okay, hi everybody. Maybe you're afraid to do some squats because it hurts your knees. Let's make sure you're doing them correctly, because squats are essential to our daily activities, sitting down, standing up. We do in so many ways: sitting in the car, going to work, sitting down at a chair, going to a movie. We want to be able to get into a chair, we want to be able to get out of a chair. So let's make sure you're doing it correctly. The main problem with a squat in exercise is the positioning of the torso. So if the chest stays upright and the knees bend, look where the knees go. So far past the toes, we're getting huge compression of the kneecap into the joint. She's going to show you once more times. See how upright her chest is? I see her torso is, and her knees are pushing so far forward. To do this squat correctly, we're going to send the hips back and hinge more from the hip. And notice her knees. Her knees are almost in the same spot. They're going to move maybe midway over her foot. But now we have equal bend in the knees and the hips. So the glutes are taking some weight, the heels are taking some weight, the quadriceps are doing some work, and the glutes are doing some work. So a squat exercise can be done through range of motion, or we can do a static hold at whatever position is comfortable for you in your knees, and come back up. We can do a minimal range of motion. The most important thing here in any squat, no matter how big your range of motion, is making sure that the bend is equal in the knees and the hips. We want the knees to point forward, whether the feet are in a wide stance or narrow stance. A wide stance might be more comfortable in your knees, as it's going to take you through a little bit less range of motion. Sitting down, standing up. And notice how Lori's knees are tracking the same angle as her toes. Her toes are turned slightly out. They can be forward or they can be turned slightly out. Nice job. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do is for the hamstrings. The hamstrings become weak because we sit so much during the day and don't use them, and also from improper posture. We're going to start with an exercise that's going to strengthen and lengthen our hamstring muscles. We're going to use a bar. It's called a barbell, but you can also use dumbbells as well. Lori's holding the bar just wider than her hips, and her toes and knees are pointing directly forward. She has, as best she can, equal weight in both legs. Her knees are going to stay straight, her spine is going to stay extended, her sternum is going to stay lifted, and she's going to hinge from the hip. She is not bending the knee because we want to get to the hamstrings. So I want you to notice a couple of things about her hinge. Her back is extended, her hips sit back slightly, her knees stay bent, and her sternum is lifted. Her sternum is facing the opposite wall the whole time, even as she hinges over. The bar is only going a little bit past her knees, to the point where she's feeling a gentle pull in the back of her thighs. As she's standing up, she's bracing her torso. So she's getting some core work in here as well. Let's demonstrate incorrect posture. When her chest collapses and her shoulders roll forward, she's rounding her spine coming over. And as she goes down, she's not going to feel the hamstrings. Did you feel anything, Lori?
I felt nothing. And because I'm so conscious of my posture, it felt so wrong. And same thing goes for when your posture is not that great and you try to get into a more positive position. It feels strange, but work on that part.
So remember, sternum up, shoulders down, spine extended, hinge from the hip. Brace the torso as you come back up. Nice job. Let's do a exercise to lengthen the hamstrings, because many of us are so tight in the hamstrings. Non-use of the hamstrings leads to tight, weak muscles. So Lori is using a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a towel. She's putting the yoga strap around her foot and extending the leg up. Now, 2 positions in the ankle, flexed or extended. Point your toe. Which one to use? My suggestion is when you have a very tight hamstring to extend the ankle so your foot is more pointed. That will take you out of your calf stretch and really show you if you're getting into your hamstring. So Lori is pulling the foot with the strap towards her until she feels a pull in the back of her thighs. Depending on how flexible you are, you may not come to this point. Your leg might be farther away from you. Or it might, farther away, perfect. Or you might be able to pull it a little closer. What you do want to remember is your spinal alignment. You can see that Lori has weight in her pelvis and her rib cage. She has a little bit of space underneath her waist, and she doesn't lose that space as she's pulling on that strap. She's releasing and then pulling, releasing and pulling.
And I would say in regards to the static hold, try to get to at least 20 seconds or more and do 2 or 3 sets. The more you do, the more often it will help your hamstrings, because frankly, if you're only going to do this once a day and go off your merry way, about 20 minutes later you're going to get tight again. So you got to do it regularly. Thank you for watching, thank you for sharing, and we'll see you next month.